Hello everyone and welcome back to the Scary Story channel. Tonight I have a tale for you that will make you think twice before you look into a mirror in a dark room. This story is about reflections, the ones we see every day and the ones that sometimes look back. So, dim the lights, get comfortable and let's begin. Our story starts with a young woman named Clara. She was a budding artist, always sketching, painting, and trying to capture the world as she saw it. She had just moved into an old, sprawling apartment in a historic part of the city. The rent was cheap, almost too cheap, but the high ceilings, large windows, and vintage charm were perfect for her creative soul. The place was mostly empty, save for a few pieces of furniture left by the previous tenant. One of these was a massive ornate mirror with a heavy, dark wood frame. It was propped against the wall in her bedroom, its silvered surface cloudy with age. Clara loved it. She thought it had character. She spent an entire afternoon cleaning it, polishing the glass until it shone, revealing intricate carvings of vines and leaves in the frame that she hadn't noticed before. The mirror was so large it reflected almost the entire room. It became a silent observer of her life, watching as she painted, slept, and went about her day. The first odd thing happened about a week after she moved in. Clara was getting ready for bed, brushing her teeth in the bathroom. When she came back into her bedroom, she glanced at the mirror. For a split second, she thought she saw her reflection still standing by the bed, even though she was now by the doorway. She blinked, and the image was gone. Her reflection was right where it should be, mimicking her every move. She shook her head, blaming it on exhaustion. Moving was stressful after all. A few days later, she was sketching in her notebook, sitting on her bed with her back to the mirror. She was completely absorbed in her work when a flicker of movement in her peripheral vision caught her eye. She looked up at the mirror. Her reflection was there, sitting just as she was, but its head was tilted slightly, as if it were watching her. Again she blinked. The reflection's head snapped back to its normal position, matching hers perfectly. A cold shiver traced its way down her spine. Was she just seeing things? Was the old glass of the mirror distorting the image? She tried to rationalize it, but the feeling of being watched intensified. The incidents became more frequent and more unsettling. Sometimes when she walked past the mirror, her reflection would seem to lag a fraction of a second behind. Other times, she would catch it smiling when she wasn't. It was a subtle, knowing smile that didn't reach the eyes. The eyes of her reflection seemed darker, hollower. She started to dread looking at it, often covering it with a sheet before she went to sleep. But her curiosity, the artist's curiosity, always got the better of her. One night, she decided to test her sanity. She stood directly in front of the mirror, staring into her own eyes. For a long time, nothing happened. Her reflection stared back, a perfect copy. She let out a sigh of relief, feeling foolish. As she turned to leave, she caught it. A brief, fleeting movement. Her reflection had raised its hand, as if to wave goodbye. Her own hands were firmly at her sides. Panic set in. This wasn't her imagination. Something was wrong with the mirror, or worse, with her reflection. She spent the next day researching the apartment building's history. What she found chilled her to the bone. Decades ago, a woman named Elara had lived in this very apartment. She was also an artist, known for her haunting self-portraits. According to the old news articles, Elara had become obsessed with her own reflection, claiming it had a life of its own. She was found in her bedroom, having passed away under mysterious circumstances, right in front of a large, ornate mirror. The article even had a grainy photo. It was her mirror. That night, a storm raged outside, rattling the old windows of the apartment. The power flickered and then went out, plunging the room into darkness. Clara fumbled for her phone, its flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. She couldn't help it. She pointed the light at the mirror. At first she saw nothing but her own terrified face, illuminated by the phone. But then, behind her reflection, another figure began to form in the glass. It was faint, like a double exposure in a photograph. A woman with long dark hair and sorrowful eyes. She wore old-fashioned clothes. It was Elara. Her form was translucent, and she was standing right behind Clara's reflection, her hands on its shoulders. Clara stumbled back, dropping her phone. The light went out. She was in complete darkness, her heart hammering against her ribs. She could hear her own ragged breathing, but there was another sound in the room, a soft whispering sound. It seemed to be coming from the mirror. She scrambled to find her phone, her hands shaking. When she finally switched the light back on and aimed it at the mirror, what she saw made her scream. Her reflection was no longer just her. It was a terrifying blend of herself and Ilara. Half her face was hers, the other half was the pale, gaunt face of the ghost, and it was smiling that same cold, knowing smile. But this time, it was a wide, predatory grin. The reflection, this hybrid entity, slowly lifted its hand and pressed it against the glass from the inside. It wasn't mimicking her, it was moving on its own. It tapped on the glass. Tap, tap, tap. The sound was sickeningly real, echoing in the silent room. Clara backed away, her mind screaming at her to run. The thing in the mirror was no longer just a reflection. It was something else, something trapped, and it wanted out. The face in the mirror contorted, its mouth opening in a silent scream, as Clara watched, paralyzed with fear. The glass began to crack, thin spiderwebs spreading out from where the reflection's hand was pressed. With a final surge of adrenaline, Clara turned and fled. She didn't grab her keys, her wallet, or her coat. She ran out of the apartment, down the stairs, and into the rain-soaked street, not stopping until the old building was just a dark silhouette against the stormy sky. She never went back. She left everything behind. Her clothes, her art supplies, her entire life in that apartment. She couldn't bear the thought of what she might see if she ever looked into that mirror again. Sometimes late at night, when she's alone and she catches a glimpse of herself in a window or a darkened screen, she flinches. She's terrified that one day she'll see that other face staring back, that cold smile, and hear that soft tapping, reminding her of the ghost in the mirror. She wonders if her reflection is truly her own anymore, or if a part of it was left behind, trapped in the silvered glass with Ilara. What do you think? Was it just a story, or could our reflections have a secret life of their own? Look around you. How many reflective surfaces are in the room with you right now? Your phone screen, a window, a glass of water. Be careful what you see in them. You might not be as alone as you think. Thanks for listening to tonight's story. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the Scary Story channel for more chilling tales. Until next time, stay safe and perhaps avoid looking in mirrors after dark.